if you go up to somewhere like Jayus and you witness the farmers being blocked from their land, it's Jayus, it's all over the agricultural heartland of Palestine, and you can see the UNRWA or OCHA UN statistic on the number of farmers who don't get permits in a lot of areas is 80% who formerly had land, worked the land. 80% do not get permits now to tend to their land. And there's an old Ottoman law that if the land is not worked for I think it's 3 years, then it transfers over to state land. So the Israelis use this to say, right, you haven't been working yet, it's now over to us. So I think the wall is and the whole permit regime system that accompany the wall are a mechanism to make it incredibly hard for the Palestinians to continue their livelihoods, to break their heritage and their culture and traditions. Like, for example, right now we've got the harvest season, olive harvest season going on, and this is a time when it's been difficult for months and months for the farmers to get to their olive trees. And now that they do get to them, they're harassed by Israeli settlers. So, I mean, how long do you keep on doing this? And when your children grow up, how long do you keep subjecting them to this? Or do you say, maybe it's time to emigrate? Nothing's going to change here. The international community's abandoned us. So I think Israel's there, you know, it has the long-term prospects in mind. And it's a sort of drip process of pushing people away again from their heritage, from their history, from their roots, from their livelihoods, so that really there isn't much choice but to leave the land. And again, this is colonization, just done through bureaucracy and military occupation and checkpoints and all that. So to witness this sort of stuff is just a phenomenal experience, and to witness the fact that so many Palestinians continue to endure that sort of hardship with that steadfastness that they are not going to abandon that they're going to try and retain and redouble their efforts at preserving their heritage and their history. Was probably the most inspiring thing about this project, and I just felt that I owe it a bit to you know, having been allowed into their lives with such hospitality and warmth, to then come back here and try and share those stories with people who don't really hear that side of the story. The one on the other side is this is one of these Kafkaesque things where you have, first of all, you have two realities, the Palestinian reality and the Israeli reality. You have Palestinians forced to live in basically third world conditions, and you have Israel, one of the most technologically sophisticated societies around. And from one intersection between Abu Dis and Mali Adumim settlement colony, you're right there. You're about 500 meters in either direction of those two spots, and you just straddle two different worlds at that junction. Some kids are selling the beans for a shekel, and then you see all the commuters heading back to this well-lit, beautifully maintained colony. So they do a great job of masking the wall, of blinkering themselves, and basically absolving themselves of responsibility. They say that it's here for our security, and they don't bother to question any deeper than that. And unfortunately, the rest of the world seems to take that as well, take that view. I think very quickly, as soon as you're on the ground there, it becomes apparent that it's not a security wall for several reasons. First of all, I've watched scores and scores of people get through it, and they're not there to commit any sort of terrorist attacks or whatever term you want to use. They're there because the wall and the occupation are strangling Palestinian communities and forcing the people to look for work elsewhere. I've also watched the route of the wall in areas like Jayus in the West Bank, in the agricultural heartland. and you can see there that the wall is purely an instrument of appropriation and annexation. It's routed so that, I mean, at one point it's 6 kilometers away from the Green Line. It's very, very far from the settlements, the colonies nearby. And not only that, but if you look at the Israeli plans, zoning plans, they have space for the colonies to expand right up to the wall. So this is obviously not a security barrier. It's allowing a lot of space for Israeli settlements to grow. So that, I think, became very apparent, and it's also a means of controlling water reserves. And once you've done that, I think you've got the upper hand, definitely. The wall is also, for me, it's the latest manifestation of Israel's colonization and annexation and repression. It you just have to go into a city like Bethlehem and see the impact that it's having on the local population to get a sense of the destructive nature it has. You witness, as you go through the checkpoint, if you get there early enough, you can witness thousands of men, several thousand men, 2,000 men, queuing to get to work on the other side. Again, these men are queuing to go through to work on the other side of the wall, because the occupation and the wall have are stifling the economy, the West Bank economy. So you see these men queuing up in horrendous conditions. They're packed in like animals. They feel humiliated to be in this condition, to be witnessed in this condition, and it's horrible to watch them in this situation as well. What is amazing when you see this as well is the number of people who are still good-humored. Some of them have been queuing there from 2 in the morning. It could be middle of winter and it's freezing out. They've been queuing there, and yet they still take the time to talk to you, to laugh with you, and to share their stories with you.